Welcome back. Thank you very much for staying with us. Now, the Matric class of 2022 is gearing up for the final exams. There have been major concerns over blackouts and the impact it has on teaching and learning. At the same time, calls for Eskom to exempt schools from power cuts continue to grow. The Western Cape has been able to cushion residents from some stages during power cuts. Will this give Matric pupils in the province a better chance compared to other provinces? Well, eNCA reporter Nobesuthu Hejana joins us to give clarity around this. Good morning, Nobesuthu. It is the big question. Will their efforts cushion the matriculants in the Western Cape?
Well, Mfundo, earlier this morning we were in Trafalgar High School where we spoke to authorities or teachers there, and they were telling us that although they've had challenges with load shedding, but they've been able to ensure that enough preparations have been done for the pupils. They're currently running extra classes for the grade 12s, and it's something that many of the schools in the Western Cape have been priding itself by doing to ensure that come Monday, all learners will be in class and will be able to write without any effects, especially for load shedding. But I'm joined by the department spokesperson just to get a sense of, has there been an impact, and maybe how much has that affected the learning, and what are some of the strides that the department is doing? Brana, thank you so much for your time. From the top, have there been any issues with regards to load shedding, just like the rest of the country, where we are feeling like it's too much? How is that for the pupils and the department?
Yeah, I think it has been a nerve-wracking 2 days, and I just would like to commend our examinations team, who absolutely put all the contingency plans in place to ensure that those examinations weren't affected, and that we had plans in place if there was a specific place with load shedding, that those learners would write and be quarantined and then would write a few hours later. And it all went off smoothly. All learners managed to write their CAT and IT exams with no problem. So we're very happy about that.
Yeah, and just tell us about some of the interventions you do talk about. There've been much that has been done to ensure that learners, they do write without hiccups. So what especially has been done to ensure that, for instance, those who were writing CAT, what was done? Did you guys have to shift around the timetables? What happened?
Well, let's say, for example, if you had load shedding between 8 and 9:30 or whatever it may be, those candidates would go into the school. They would then be quarantined. They could continue studying and actually have that quiet period to actually study further until the electricity went back up, and then we were able to escort them to the examination centre where they would write as per normal. So it was just important that we ensure the integrity of the exams, so that there was that quarantine period. But otherwise, everything went off smoothly, and now we're looking forward to Monday.
I mean, we're not sure when load shedding will eventually end, and is it something that the department has a pipeline in terms of like planning ahead, like for next year? What will happen? Do you have any idea what might happen, especially with the preparations going forward?
Well, you know, some of our schools have UPS systems in place. We also have targeted certain CAT and IT facilities in that regard. But the purchasing of generators, for expensive, it comes at huge cost, and you can't even get it at the moment because of the demand. So we are looking at ways and means. We're also trying to determine, you know, what is the need for next year. But as we've seen in the last 2 days, we can manage without it. But it obviously does take a lot of planning and execution. And if that's not done well, then there are consequences. But fortunately, everything went smoothly.
Yeah, and a lot of people have been saying that in Cape Town, life is much better because of what the city of Cape Town can provide. Your message to the pupils who will be sitting down on Monday for their first paper?
This is a tough class of 2022, and I say that because they have had to endure the last few years of COVID. They were in grade 10 when COVID hit us, and then they were rotating since then. They weren't writing exams, so we are looking in anticipation to see what the results will be on the 20th of January next year. But as for our 62,000 full-time and our 11,000 part-time candidates, we just want to wish them the best of luck. They've shown such resilience over the past few years, and it's hopefully that turns into good results come January next year.
Yeah. Predictions for this year, are we planning for that top place?
Well, we would always obviously want that top place. Obviously we're looking at the number of learners writing. We want as many learners that have actually registered and applied for the eNCA to actually sit down and write that and actually get that pass rate. So we don't have any predictions because it's been a very tough year in terms of, it's hard to tell with this class because of the last 2 years, and there's other factors that play in, but obviously we hope to be celebrating.
All right, thank you very much. Well, Mfundo, that was Brana Hammond, the spokesperson of the Western Cape Education Department, saying that, they've had to make plans to ensure that the pupils and learning and teaching in general is not affected by the load shedding, and especially now that we're gearing up for the exams next week. So the department saying that, we're coping, but if we had to look at things like generators, that will be expensive. So they're hopeful that their plans will be maintained, especially also coming in next year, as they are hoping that the class of 2022 will bring much joy to the Western Cape.